Welcome to Static Routing Demo 4. On this video demo, we will be talking about and demonstrating about IPv6 Default Static Route. So this will be the topology to be used on the course of this video demo. Let's proceed with our demo. Okay, so this would be our topology for this video demo. And we are going to start with identifying the IPv6 network address assigned to this topology here. Okay, so starting with R1. So R1 uses 2001 DB8 ACAD3:/64 for the LAN network. And between R1 and R2, it uses 2001 DB8 ACAD2:/64. So for R3, there are for R2, there are three directly connected networks to it. You've got 2001 DB8 ACAD1:/64, ACAD2:/64, and 2001 DB8 Cafe1:/64. Now for R3, we have two directly IPv6 network connected to it. You've got Cafe1 and Cafe2 here. Now we are going to assign our second usable IP on the host or on the computers, and the first usable IP, okay, on the default gateway. So let's start the IP assignment now. So let's start with the PC here. Okay, so let me click on PC1 here, desktop, IP configuration. So we will be assigning an IPv6 address here. Okay, so this would be 2001, right, colon DB8, okay, colon ACAD, okay, colon 3, okay, so you've got colon. Okay, so since this is the PC, the first or the second usable IP will be assigned to it. So you've got colon 2, and this is /64. All right. Now, for our default gateway, this is the first usable IP. Control C here. You just copy it and paste it. So this is your default gateway, first usable IP. All right. So we are done with IPv6 assignment on PC1. Let's do the same on PC2. So click on PC2, desktop, IP configuration, and then look down on IPv6 configuration. So in here, you've got 2001 DB8 ACAD. This one here is 1, okay, colon 2, /64. All right, and the default gateway is basically the first usable IP on that network. You've got 2001 DB8 ACAD1, all right, colon 1 here. Okay, so we're done with PC2. It's time to move on PC3. Okay, now on PC3, so desktop, IP configuration. So IPv6 address, this is 2001 DB8. This one here is Cafe. All right, so you've got 2, and then colon 2, /64. Okay, and the default gateway is the first usable IP you'll have there. Okay, so we are done now with an IP assignment on those PCs, PC1, PC2, PC3. All right, so next is let's configure the router now for IPv6. Okay, so let's start with router 1 here. So CLI, all right. So we could give it a name. So enable, configure terminal, host name, R1. Now for IPv6 assignment and configuration on any router, okay, or a layer 3 switch, you could start with something like IPv6 unicast routing, right? So you have IPv6, okay, unicast, right, routing. it should be inside the config. Okay, so IPv6 unicast routing. Okay, so you need to start your configuration should you intend to configure the routers or layer 3 switches with IPv6 with IPv6 unicast routing. So now we are ready to configure it. Let's start with this interface here. Let's show the interfaces. Right? Okay, so let's click on R1. So you've got IPv6 okay, address. Okay, so that would be 2001, right? DB8. Okay, so beware of typing. Right, ACAD. Take an extra caution here. ACAD 3. Okay, colon 1. Right, so that would be this interface there. What happened? So we should have here, let me just copy it. Okay, so we should have the interface here. So interface G0/0/0. Okay, so IPv6 address 2001. Okay, 2001 DB8 colon ACAD colon 3. Okay, you've got colon 1/64. Right, and then no shutdown. All right, so we have here our indicator that's going to be green. Okay, so let's move on to the next interface, which is interface serial 010 here. So interface serial 010. Okay, so IPv6 address 2001 DB8, right, colon ACAD colon 2 colon this one here is 1, right, /64. Double check it, that's 2. Okay, colon 1/64. All right, no shutdown. Okay, so we are done with IPv6 IP assignment on R1. Let's move on R2. Now on R2, let us display all the interfaces there and in here. All right, let's click on R2 here. CLI. Okay, so let's give it a name first. This would be enable configure terminal. All right, host name R2. Host name. All right, so next would be IPv6 unicast routing. All right, so we can now start the IP assignment. So let's start with interface G0/0/0 there. So IPv6 address, that would be 2001 colon DB8 colon ACAD colon 1 colon 1/64. All right, so that would be the IP address here as a default gateway for EC2. All right, so next is no shutdown. All right, so the next one here is this interface here, serial 010. Let's get into it. So interface serial 010, okay, IPv6 address, gonna have 2001 colon DB8 colon ACAD colon 2 colon 2. All right, so it's this one. So let's check it. 2001 DB8 ACAD colon 2 colon 2/64. Okay, and then no shutdown. All right, so the next one is this interface here. Okay, so let's move it on the left side. Okay, so that would be interface serial 0, right? 1 1. So IPv6 address, you're gonna have 2001, okay, DB8 colon cafe colon 1 colon 2 slash 64. All right, and then no shutdown. Okay, so we're done now with the IPv6 assignment on R2. Now let's go ahead and configure R3 here. Okay, so CLI, so enable, configure terminal, you'll have hostname R3, IPv6, unicast routing. All right, so interface G0/0/0 there. All right, so IPv6 IP address or IPv6 address, you're gonna have 2001, all right, DB8 colon cafe, all right, colon 2 colon 1 slash 64. Just double check it. So IPv6 address 2001 DB8 cafe 2 colon 1 slash 64. That's correct. And then no shutdown. All right, so the next one is the serial 011 here. Okay, so interface serial 0/1/1 there. Right, so IPv6 address, that would be 2001 colon DB8 colon cafe, all right, colon 1 colon 1 slash 64. All right, so cafe 1 colon 1 slash 64, and then no shutdown. All right, so we are done with an IPv6 assignment on these devices, okay, including PC1, 2, and 3, and these routers R1, R2, and R3 here. All right, so let's fast forward time, and let's check if we can now ping directly connected devices. Go to PC1, all right, command prompt, and type in ipconfig. Okay, so let's see. So you'll have your ipconfig. Okay. So let's check the default gateway. So our default gateway here is the first usable IP. So you could copy this, all right, and then ping IP address, which is the default gateway here, enter. So you have now here a reply. All right, so same thing. Let's do the same on PC2. Command prompt, all right. So let's try to ping the default gateway. So ipconfig. Okay, so the default gateway here is the first usable IP. All right, so let me just copy it and then try to ping it. Okay, so we can now ping the default gateway. So also on PC3 here, command prompt, all right, so ipconfig, okay, and let's try this, copy, okay, so ping, let's ping our default gateway, paste it, it's working. Now, how about the routers directly connected to each other? All right, so let's check now the connectivity among these routers. All right, so let's start with R1 here. Okay, so on R1, okay, so enable. Okay, so let's ping the next hop. So that would be ping, okay, ping IPv6. All right, and then that would be 2001, okay, colon DB8 colon ACAD, right, colon 2, and then colon 2 there. Okay, so we can ping it. Okay, so same thing. We go to R2 now. Okay, and let's try to ping if we could ping this R1 here, interface. All right, so that would be enable. We got ping IPv6. All right, and then that would be 2001 DB8. All right, colon ACAD colon 2 colon 1. So you've got 100% success rate. Okay, so that means we are connected. Since they are directly connected, it should be okay a 100% success rate. All right, so same thing from R2 going to R3. Let's check it out. So I've got ping. Okay, so DB8 colon cafe colon 1 colon 1. All right, so successful. And last, let's check R3 going to R2 since they are directly connected to each other. Okay, so you could have here, so enable, okay, ping IPv6 2001 DB8 colon cafe colon 1 colon 2. All right, so enter. Okay, so therefore we can conclude that all of these devices now are directly connected to each other. All right, so we can now go with the routing configuration. Okay, so now that you're done with an IP assignment, okay, IPv6 assignment on all of these devices here, okay, so it's time for us to configure default static route, all right, on R1 and R3. So that would be going to R2, and configure so standard static route on R2 going to R1 and R3 network respectively. And then afterwards, we are going to test the end-to-end connectivity among these computers here. All right, so for now, we don't have any configurations other than IP addresses on R1, R2, and R3. Okay, so we could check it via our routing table here. Okay, so let's see the routing table of R1. We've got enable, right? We've got show IPv6 route. So what we can see here, again, are just directly connected networks. Okay, so same thing with R2 here. Okay, so let's check this out. So enable, show IPv6 route. Right, so we only have here directly connected networks. So also, let's check that on R3. Okay, so CLI, we've got enable, show IPv6 route. Right, so directly connected networks. Okay, so basically we cannot establish end-to-end connectivity from PC1 to PC2 to PC3 and vice versa. All right, since we are going to configure here a default static route, all right, so our assumption here is that R1 and R3 here should be our stub router. So when you say stub router, this is the only way in and out of the network. Okay, so let me denote, okay, a boundary here. For instance, we'll be using green one here. All right, so on this network, assuming that this is the boundary for this network. Okay, so all right, so let me put a boundary here. Yes, where's that? Select fill color. You've got green. Okay, that's fill color there. All right, so let's do it. Let's say this is our green network. All right, and also let's have another network. Say this one here is our orange network. All right. So our assumption is, okay, so these are the stub networks. All right. So let me close this palette dialog here. Okay. And move the network address label here. All right. So again, our consideration would be R1 and R3 would be our stub routers. And usually we configure the default static route, would it be on IPv4 or on IPv6, if we are connected to the ISP. So we are going to assume here that R2 would be our ISP. Though usually in an ISP, we are using public IP addresses. Well, this is just for the sake of demonstration. All right. So we will be demonstrating how to configure an IPv6 default static route on R1 and R3. Okay, so let's do it. Let's start with R1 here. Okay, so we don't have any static entry here. Okay, so let us configure. So to do that, configure terminal, right? IPv6 route. All right, so that would be, so take a look at the syntax here. The IPv6 default route syntax would be IPv6 route ::/0. You've got the next hop IP address or the exit interface. Okay, so in our case, let me configure the default route. All right, so that would be, place it here. Okay, so you've got IPv6 route ::/0, right, followed by the exit interface. So let me use the exit interface here. So this one here is serial 010, right? So serial 010. All right, so that would be our IPv6 default route on R1. So let's check that on the routing table. So you'll have your do show IPv6 route, right? And we have this default route here. Okay, so all packets destined to any network not on the routing table will be forwarded on the serial 010 here. In that case, that would be directed towards R2, which is considered to be our ISP here. All right, so let me close this. We're done with R1. Now let's do the same on R3, since R3 here is also a stub router. Okay, so let us configure a default static route here for IPv6. So that would be configure terminal. All right, so IPv6, okay, so route ::/0. Okay, so what is our exit interface here? Let's check that out. So serial 011. Okay, so we are on R3. Serial 0/1/1. All right, so and then let's go ahead and check the routing table. So do show IPv6 route. All right, so we have here our default static route. So any packet not on the routing table will be forwarded to serial 011 here. Okay, next, let's configure our R2 here, which is in the assumption that would be our ISP. All right, so we will be using the standard static route on R2 going to R1 and R3 network respectively. So let's do it. So configure terminal. Okay, so IPv6 route, so that would be 2001. Okay, so DB8 ACAD, you've got 3::/64. Okay, and let's say we will be using the next hop IP address here. So that would be 2001 DB8 ACAD, right, :2::, okay, 1. All right, so we're done with our standard static route going to R1 LAN. Now let's do the same on R3. So that would be IPv6 route, all right, So to reach 2001 db8, okay, you've got cafe colon 2 colon colon slash 64. Okay, so that would be via 201 or 2001 db8. All right, cafe colon 1 colon colon 1. All right, so enter. So let's check that out on the routing table. So do show IPv6 route. So we are expecting 2 static route on our routing table. So this would be the first one going to R1, okay, and the other one, which is this one here, cafe 2, going to R3 LAN. All right, so now that we're done with the configuration, let's see if we can now ping PC1, okay, or PC2 and PC3 on PC1. So let's check this out. Okay, so desktop command prompt. So let me ping PC2 first. All right, so ipconfig, start with this. So what you can see here is that this is PC1 having this IPv6 address. Now we are going to ping, okay, the PC1 on the network. So ping or PC2 on the network, that would be 2001 db8, right, acad colon, right, 1 colon colon, okay, 2, right, enter. So we have here a reply. Okay, we can now ping PC2 from PC1. Let's check PC3 here. Okay, so let's do the same. So it's gonna have arrow up. Let me change this acad here into cafe. All right, and that is located on 2, 2. Okay, so this would be 2. Okay, cafe 2, and then colon colon 2. Right, there should be a successful connection. And here we go. So we got it right. All right, so that is on PC1. Now let's move on PC2, okay, and see if we can ping, okay, so PC1 and PC3 respectively. So let's start with PC1 here. So we've got ping, okay, 2001 db8 acad. You've got 3 colon colon 2. So successful. Okay, so we've got a reply. Same thing from PC2. Let us ping PC3 here. So you've got ping 2001, all right, db8 colon. You've got cafe colon 2 colon colon 2, which is PC3. Right? So we have now the connection. Okay, so the last one would be, let's go to PC3, okay, and try to ping PC1 and PC2. So let's start with PC1 here. So you've got ping, so take note that this is PC3, 2001 db8, okay, acad colon 3 colon colon 2. Right? So we've got the reply, okay, so successful. So the next one would be ping PC2 from PC3. So that would be ping, okay, 2001 db8, all right, colon acad colon 1 colon colon 2. Okay, and we've got the reply. So that means we have a full end-to-end connectivity among computers here. Okay, so that's how easy it is to configure an IPv6 default static route. So again, you use only the IPv6 default static route when you are connecting to the ISP, or if you are on a stub network and you want to configure your router to connect to the external connections. All right, So that's it for this video demo. See you on the next video demo. Thank you very much for watching and listening. Have a great day.